The alien princess said, "Human, if you win this battle, you win me." The arena held its breath. Alex Rayner had always dreamed of reaching the stars, but nothing in his life could have prepared him for the moment he stepped onto the orbiting platform above Zelthar Prime. From up here, the planet looked small, almost fragile, its swirling green-blue storms contrasting against the blackness of space. The arena itself floated just above the surface, a massive circular structure with transparent walls, allowing billions across the galaxy to witness the spectacle inside. Today, humanity's champion would face the ultimate test, not just against alien combatants, but against the judgment of an entire civilization. Alex adjusted his gloves and checked the small holographic interface on his wrist. Every system was running perfectly. The exosuit's power levels were optimal, and the neural interface was synchronized with his reflexes. He was ready, but he could not shake the feeling that this battle was more than a fight for glory. It was a test of everything humans were capable of. He was the first human ever allowed to compete in the Zelthar trials, an honor and a risk that weighed heavily on him. A loud, booming voice echoed through the arena, and the crowd went silent. The voice was melodic, almost hypnotic, and carried across the transparent walls to reach the floating platforms surrounding the battlefield. "Welcome, champions of the galaxy," it said. "Today you will prove your worth, your courage, and your honor. And remember, the greatest prize is not always victory, but the respect of those who witness it." Then, the eyes of the arena turned toward the entrance. A figure emerged, floating slightly above the ground, adorned in armor that shimmered with a strange, liquid-like glow. Her presence made even the most hardened warriors pause. Alex recognized her immediately from the reports he had seen. Princess Lyra, heir to the Zelthar throne, undefeated in all previous trials, and the galaxy's most feared warrior. Her green eyes seemed to cut through the very air, assessing each competitor with a single glance. She stopped at the center of the arena and raised a hand. The crowd leaned forward, waiting in anticipation. Then her lips moved, and the words sent a shock through Alex's chest. "Human," she said, her voice soft but carrying across the stadium. "If you win this battle, you win me." The words echoed through the arena, bouncing off the walls and sending whispers across the crowd. For a moment, Alex could only stare, unsure whether she was serious or merely taunting him. Then he realized this was no ordinary statement. It was a challenge, a test of skill and spirit. Lyra had not offered friendship or alliance. She had offered respect, the kind that could only be earned by someone who proved themselves in the arena, and that someone was him. The ground beneath Alex shifted, signaling the start of the trials. The arena was enormous, but it was unlike anything humans had seen. The battlefield was alive, constantly changing, with platforms that moved, walls that rose and fell, and hidden traps that tested both mind and body. He stepped forward, feeling the artificial gravity adjust to his weight. Every muscle in his body was tense, prepared for whatever came next. The first opponents appeared, emerging from hidden doors along the edges of the arena. They were tall, muscular, and alien, each carrying weapons that seemed almost alive, glowing with energy and humming with power. Alex studied them carefully, knowing that underestimating them would be fatal. He remembered what his mentor had once told him. Humans may not be the strongest, but we are clever, adaptable, and determined. He would need every ounce of that now. The first encounter was immediate. A massive creature lunged at him with 4 arms, each tipped with sharp blades. Alex sidestepped, narrowly avoiding the strike, and activated his suit's energy shield. The force of the attack sent vibrations through his arms, but he maintained balance. Using the creature's momentum against it, he rolled and kicked off the wall, landing behind it. With a precise strike to its weak point, visible only because of the suit's scanning system, the creature collapsed, thrashing once before falling motionless. The crowd roared, though Alex could not tell whether they cheered for him or merely for the spectacle. Either way, he did not have time to ponder it. Another opponent appeared, smaller, faster, and covered in metallic scales that reflected the arena lights. It moved like liquid, attacking from unpredictable angles. Alex ducked, dodged, and rolled, using the arena's shifting platforms to his advantage. He realized quickly that human reflexes, paired with ingenuity, could outmaneuver even the fastest alien predators. As he fought, he noticed Princess Lyra watching him. She moved gracefully across the arena's observation platform, her eyes following every action. For a moment, Alex felt self-conscious, but then he reminded himself. She respected skill. If he performed well, she would notice. He needed not only to survive, but to impress. The final challenge of the first stage was unlike anything Alex had prepared for. A section of the arena suddenly tilted, sending him sliding down a steep slope toward a pit filled with glowing energy. From the pit, mechanical beasts, remnants of ancient Zelthar war machines, sprang forth, their claws extended and eyes glowing red. Alex's heart pounded, but his mind was clear. He scanned the environment, analyzing patterns and calculating timing. Using a combination of the suit's boosters and the arena's shifting walls, he leapt over one machine, dodged the next, and managed to trap a third in a collapsing platform. When the last mechanical beast fell, the ground stabilized. Alex landed, chest heaving, sweat trickling down his face. He glanced toward the observation platform. Lyra's expression had changed. There was a hint of admiration in her eyes. She had seen his ingenuity, his courage, and his ability to adapt under pressure. That small acknowledgement felt like a victory, though the trials were far from over. The announcer's voice rang out again. "Human, you have survived the first stage, but the arena is only beginning. Are you ready for what comes next?" Alex nodded, gripping the edges of his suit. He did not know what awaited him, but he felt a surge of determination. Every human instinct told him to survive, adapt, and prove his worth. He thought of his home planet, of humanity struggling against skepticism in the galaxy. If he could succeed here, he could show that humans were not weak, not naive, not to be underestimated. The arena shifted once more, revealing the next stage. It was larger, more complex, with floating platforms, swinging energy bridges, and pools of glowing liquid that seemed to defy gravity. This stage would test more than reflexes. It would test courage, strategy, and intelligence. Alex stepped forward, his eyes scanning every detail, his mind already calculating possible paths. Each decision could mean life or death, victory or defeat. The first challenge of the new stage was an alien duo, coordinated fighters moving in perfect synchronization. They attacked with energy whips that could cut through metal. Alex ducked, rolled, and used his suit's grappling hook to swing over their attacks. Then he jumped, using the walls and energy beams to bounce back toward them, striking their weak points simultaneously. The crowd erupted, and even Lyra leaned forward, clearly impressed by the humans' daring tactics. As the stage progressed, Alex encountered traps that seemed impossible. Moving walls, collapsing platforms, and ambushes designed to confuse and intimidate. But with each obstacle, Alex grew more confident. He realized that humans had an advantage aliens sometimes overlooked: creativity. While many of his opponents relied on strength, skill, or sheer instinct, Alex used reasoning, observation, and unpredictability. He could see the arena not just as a battlefield, but as a puzzle, each stage designed to challenge the mind as much as the body. By the time the final wave of the first day ended, Alex was exhausted, but he stood tall. The arena's lights dimmed, signaling a pause. The crowd roared, and Alex noticed that even the announcers sounded impressed. Princess Lyra descended from her platform, walking among the spectators, her eyes locking with his for a brief moment. There was no smile, but a nod, an acknowledgement that the human was more than a curiosity. He had earned a measure of respect. As Alex prepared to leave the arena for a short rest, he reflected on what had just happened. This was only the beginning. The trials would grow more dangerous, the opponents stronger, and the challenges more complex. But he felt ready. He understood now that survival was not enough. He needed to excel, to adapt, to show the galaxy what humans could do when pushed to their limits. The night descended over Zelthar Prime, and Alex looked out at the stars from his quarters. The arena glowed in the distance, a beacon of challenge and opportunity. Tomorrow, he would face new opponents, new threats, and perhaps even Princess Lyra herself. But for the first time, Alex felt a calm determination. He was not just a fighter. He was humanity's representative, a symbol of courage, ingenuity, and the unyielding human spirit. Whatever awaited him, he would face it head-on. And perhaps, just perhaps, he could win more than the trials. He could win the respect of a galaxy that had long doubted his kind. The sun of Zelthar Prime rose slowly over the horizon, casting pale green light across the floating arena. From above, it looked almost peaceful, a serene place suspended between clouds and sky. But Alex knew better. The arena was alive, constantly shifting, and designed to test not just strength but ingenuity, courage, and willpower. Today, the trials would intensify. Today, survival would demand more than just skill, it would demand creativity. Alex stretched, feeling the soreness in his muscles from the first day's battles. The exosuit was light, but the constant movement, the dodging, the jumping, and the mental strain had left him drained. Yet he felt an odd excitement, a pulse of anticipation he could not ignore. Today, he would face challenges that were more complex, more dangerous, and far less predictable than anything he had faced before. He stepped out onto the arena platform, greeted by a roar from the crowd. Billions of beings across the galaxy had their eyes on him, watching a human compete in a contest few had thought possible. Many whispered doubts, expecting humans to falter, to fail. But Alex would not let them. He would show them that humanity was clever, adaptable, and unyielding. The first challenge appeared without warning. A section of the arena rose and rotated, revealing a labyrinth of narrow paths suspended over a pool of glowing liquid. The paths moved, tilting and shifting unpredictably. Alex took a deep breath and stepped onto the first platform. He felt it wobble under his weight, threatening to throw him into the glowing pit below. One false step, and he would be eliminated. But humans had an advantage that many species lacked: adaptability. Alex studied the movement patterns, noticing subtle cues in the machinery that controlled the platforms. Timing his steps carefully, he moved forward, adjusting his balance as the paths tilted beneath him. When one section began to spin, he leapt, swinging onto the next platform with the aid of his grappling hook. He landed safely and continued, drawing quiet admiration from the crowd. Then came the first adversaries, a group of agile alien warriors armed with energy whips. They moved as a single unit, striking in unison with incredible speed. Alex's heart pounded, but he remained calm. He dodged their initial attack, rolled over a platform edge, and used the arena's shifting walls to bounce back, striking one warrior's weak point. The others hesitated, unsure of his tactics, giving him the split-second advantage he needed to escape and gain higher ground. As Alex progressed, he encountered increasingly complex obstacles. Some platforms disappeared suddenly, forcing him to leap long distances with precise timing. Energy barriers emerged without warning, requiring him to manipulate his suit's shield and propulsion system. Each stage tested his ingenuity, demanding solutions that relied on thinking as much as reflexes. The most difficult challenge came in the form of a massive, quadrupedal creature, its body armored with metallic plates and eyes glowing bright red. It moved with surprising speed for its size, capable of crushing platforms beneath its weight. Alex realized he could not fight it head-on. He had to use the environment. Observing the patterns of its steps, he lured it toward a collapsing section of the arena. Timing his movements perfectly, he dodged at the last second, and the ground beneath the beast gave way. It crashed into the glowing pit, thrashing but ultimately subdued. The crowd erupted. Alex felt a rush of adrenaline. Even Princess Lyra's eyes widened slightly as she observed his tactics. There was no arrogance in her gaze, only interest and perhaps approval. He realized that every action, every clever solution was being noted. Lyra respected skill and intelligence above all else. To earn her recognition, he had to demonstrate not only survival but creativity, courage, and determination. The next stage was even more challenging. The arena shifted entirely, revealing a vertical battlefield that stretched hundreds of meters into the air. Platforms floated in midair, some rotating, some swinging on energy chains. Gravity fields shifted unpredictably, creating zones where movement became slow or accelerated. Alex felt his stomach twist, but he focused on the rules, observation, timing, and improvisation. He moved cautiously, leaping from platform to platform, using his suit's boosters and grappling hooks to navigate the treacherous terrain. An alien opponent appeared, a towering figure with a segmented staff capable of extending and retracting at incredible speed. The fight demanded precision. Alex dodged a series of strikes, using his environment to his advantage. When the alien attacked from above, he propelled himself off a swinging platform and landed behind the opponent, striking its energy core. Sparks flew as the creature collapsed. Through every trial, Alex learned to adapt. He studied patterns, anticipated attacks, and found ways to exploit the arena's design. Each victory was a mix of skill and strategy, a testament to human ingenuity. The spectators, who had initially doubted a human's ability, began to murmur in amazement. Billions of eyes followed his every move, and he could feel the weight of expectation but also the growing respect. By midday, Alex faced the ultimate challenge of the second stage, a maze filled with illusions and traps. The walls shifted continuously, creating dead ends and false paths. Holographic duplicates of himself appeared, confusing the senses and creating uncertainty. He realized this stage was designed to test mental acuity as much as physical ability. One wrong turn could lead him into a trap, a pit, or an ambush by alien warriors waiting and hiding. He paused, taking a deep breath. Instead of rushing, he slowed his pace, observing every detail. He noticed subtle differences between the illusions and reality, slight distortions in reflections, faint vibrations on the floor, and shadows that did not match the light source. Following these cues, he navigated the maze carefully, avoiding the traps and confronting the hidden adversaries one by one. Finally, he reached the center of the maze, where a massive energy gate blocked further progress. It pulsed with a rhythm that seemed almost alive. Alex analyzed the pattern, realizing that timing his approach with the gate's pulses would allow him to pass safely. He waited for the precise moment, then sprinted forward, dodging the final hazards and emerging victorious. The crowd erupted once again, this time with a mix of awe and admiration. Even Lyra could not hide her surprise. She remained poised, her expression thoughtful, as she observed the human who had mastered challenges designed to test even the most seasoned Zelthar warriors. Alex felt a surge of pride. He had not only survived but excelled, proving that humans were clever, adaptable, and fearless when faced with danger. As he prepared to rest, he reflected on what he had accomplished. The arena was more than a battlefield. It was a proving ground, a place where strength, intelligence, and courage were tested to their limits. He had learned to trust his instincts, to observe and adapt, and to remain calm under pressure. Each trial had reinforced a simple truth. Humans could overcome challenges through determination, creativity, and the refusal to give up. Princess Lyra descended briefly to the edge of the arena, speaking quietly to her advisors. Alex could not hear her words, but he sensed her attention. She was impressed. He had earned a level of respect few humans could ever hope for, and that respect was worth more than any reward the arena could offer. As night fell over Zelthar Prime, Alex looked out at the glowing platforms of the arena, shimmering like stars suspended in the sky. The trials were far from over, but he felt ready for whatever came next. He understood now that survival was only the beginning. To succeed, he would need to continue thinking, adapting, and proving that humans were a force to be reckoned with. He rested briefly, his mind replaying every move, every decision, every strategy that had brought him this far. Tomorrow, the challenges would escalate, opponents would grow stronger, and the arena would test him in ways he could not yet imagine. But he felt no fear, only determination. He was not just fighting for himself. He was fighting for humanity, for the chance to show the galaxy that humans were clever, adaptable, and brave beyond measure. And somewhere in the arena, Princess Lyra watched. Her eyes followed his every move, her expression calm but attentive. She had thrown down a challenge, but she had also observed a human rise to it. A spark of curiosity and respect glimmered in her gaze. Perhaps this was the beginning of something more than a trial. Perhaps the human before her was more than just a fighter. The arena settled into quiet, a temporary pause before the next wave of challenges. Alex knew that the trials would continue, that danger would increase, and that every decision could determine his fate. But he also knew this. He had proven something important today. Humans were clever, adaptable, and unyielding. They could survive, they could innovate, and they could face the unknown without fear. As he closed his eyes for a brief rest, he felt a quiet confidence growing inside him. Tomorrow would bring new battles, new tests, and perhaps even a confrontation with Princess Lyra herself. But he would meet it head-on, with skill, courage, and ingenuity. And no matter what happened, he would show the galaxy the true strength of humanity the next morning. The arena of Zelthar Prime glowed with a strange light, the floating platforms reflecting the green hue of the planet below. Alex Raynor stood at the edge, feeling the tension in his muscles. Today was different. He had survived the first two stages, outsmarted creatures and warriors, and navigated deadly puzzles. But today, the final duel awaited him. The arena shifted and expanded as if it sensed the gravity of what was about to happen. The crowd was larger than ever, billions of eyes watching a human take on one of the galaxy's greatest warriors, Princess Lyra herself. Alex felt no fear. He had faced impossible odds before, but this was different. Lyra was not just another opponent, she was a living legend. Her victories were countless, her skill unmatched, and her strategies were said to be flawless. Many humans had imagined fighting her, but none had ever succeeded. Yet Alex knew that humans had something the legends sometimes lacked: unpredictability and creativity. That would be his advantage. The arena doors opened, and Lyra appeared. She moved with elegance and power, her armor catching the light, her green eyes fixed on Alex. The crowd went silent as she raised her hand. "Human," she said, her voice calm and clear, "today we fight. Not for glory, not for pride, but to test the limits of courage and skill." "Show me the strength of your spirit." Alex nodded, understanding the challenge. This duel was not just about strength. It was about intelligence, adaptation, and determination. He squared his shoulders and stepped forward, his suit humming softly as he prepared for the fight. The arena shifted immediately, walls rising and falling, platforms tilting and swinging. It was designed to test every ability at once. Lyra moved first, gliding across the platforms with incredible speed. She attacked with precision, her sword-like weapon slicing through the air toward Alex. He dodged, rolling and using the walls to launch himself toward her. Their first clash sent sparks flying as metal struck metal, and the crowd gasped at the display of skill. Lyra's attacks were relentless, each one faster than the last. Alex realized that brute strength would not win this duel. He needed strategy. He studied her movements, noting the slight patterns in her strikes, the way her weight shifted when she attacked. Using the arena to his advantage, he led her toward a set of unstable platforms. At the last second, he leapt aside, and the platform collapsed under her, forcing her to regain balance. She nodded in acknowledgement, a small smile of approval on her lips. The next phase of the duel took them through the vertical section of the arena, hundreds of meters above the glowing pools of energy. Platforms swung on chains, and gravity fields shifted unpredictably. Alex had to calculate each movement precisely. A misstep would send him falling, possibly into the liquid below, and the duel would be over. Lyra moved with grace, but Alex noticed something. She expected conventional responses. This gave him an opening. He used the arena itself as a weapon. Swinging from chains, bouncing off platforms, and luring Lyra into positions where she had to adjust her strikes, he created opportunities. Each time she attacked, he anticipated and adapted, dodging at the last possible moment. The crowd's cheers grew louder as they watched the human not just survive, but keep up with the princess herself. But Lyra was far from defeated. She adapted quickly, countering his tactics with skill and precision. Her strikes were faster, more unpredictable, and each movement was calculated. Alex felt sweat trickle down his face, but his mind remained clear. He knew that to win, he had to combine instinct with ingenuity. He could not rely solely on reaction, he had to outthink her. Then the arena shifted again, opening a central platform that rotated slowly. Energy barriers rose, forcing both fighters to move in unison. Alex realized this was a test of timing and observation. He waited, studying Lyra's rhythm, noting when she struck and when she paused. Then he acted. Using the suit's boosters, he moved in a path she did not expect, striking a weak point in her armor as they collided. Lyra barely avoided the hit, her eyes widening slightly. She had not expected such an unpredictable move. The duel continued, escalating in intensity. Sparks flew, platforms shifted dangerously, and energy blasts lit the arena in bursts of light. Alex could feel his stamina challenged, but he drew strength from knowing that humans had overcome impossible odds before. Creativity, courage, and determination were his weapons as much as the suit and reflexes. At one point, Lyra launched him backward with a powerful strike. He flew toward the edge of a platform, nearly falling into the glowing pit below. Instinctively, he activated the suit's grappling hook and swung back into the center. The audience gasped, impressed by the human's daring maneuver. Lyra observed silently, her expression unreadable, but Alex sensed the respect growing. He was pushing her to adapt, and she was taking notice. The battle moved through several phases, each testing different skills. They navigated swinging bridges, dodged energy barriers, and engaged in close combat that required split-second timing. Each moment demanded complete focus, and Alex found himself relying on the full range of human abilities: observation, calculation, adaptability, and creativity. Every move was a combination of thought and instinct. Finally, the arena shifted into a final stage, a circular platform surrounded by a shallow pool of energy that pulsed like a heartbeat. The platform was smooth and offered no cover. The duel would end here, and only one could emerge victorious. Alex and Lyra faced each other, breathing heavily but alert. The crowd was silent, hanging on every movement. Lyra struck first, a blur of motion that would have crushed a lesser opponent. Alex ducked, rolled, and countered, striking her armor with precision. They exchanged blows rapidly, each movement faster than the last, their attacks matched with near-perfect timing. Alex realized that to win, he needed to risk everything. He could not simply react, he had to act unpredictably. He feinted a strike to her left, then launched himself in a high arc, striking downward toward a vulnerable joint in her armor. Lyra barely deflected the blow, and the force sent her sliding across the platform. Alex followed, using his speed and agility to stay in the fight. Every move pushed both of them to the limits of skill and endurance. The duel reached its climax. Both were exhausted, their movements precise yet driven by determination. Alex saw an opening, an opportunity to end the battle without underestimating her skill. He timed his strike perfectly, using the arena's energy pulses to propel himself. He landed a solid hit on a weak point in her armor, and Lyra stumbled but did not fall. She paused, breathing heavily, and for a moment, silence filled the arena. Then she smiled. It was not a smile of defeat, but of respect. She had seen the human's ingenuity, courage, and determination. She had witnessed what few had, a human matching her skill and spirit. Alex understood then that the duel was not just a test of strength, but a recognition of value. Lyra acknowledged his capabilities, and he acknowledged hers. The crowd erupted into cheers that echoed across the galaxy. Alex felt a surge of pride, but also humility. He had survived the impossible, outsmarted, and outmaneuvered one of the greatest warriors alive. He had proven that humans were not to be underestimated, that creativity, courage, and determination could overcome even the most legendary opponents. As the energy pulses of the arena faded, Lyra extended her hand. "Human," she said, her voice steady, "you have proven yourself. Not through strength alone, but through heart, mind, and courage. Today you have earned my respect, and the respect of your people." Alex took her hand, feeling a sense of accomplishment that went beyond winning the duel. He had not only survived, but demonstrated the strength of humanity. He realized that the arena had tested more than combat skills. It had tested the essence of being human: ingenuity, resilience, and the courage to face the unknown. The arena slowly returned to its normal state, platforms settling, energy pulses fading. The crowd continued to cheer, a mix of amazement and admiration. Alex and Lyra stood at the center, their mutual respect evident. The duel had ended, but the bond it created, through challenge, skill, and recognition, was something deeper, something that transcended words. As Alex stepped off the central platform, he reflected on the journey. The arena had pushed him to his limits, forcing him to think, adapt, and act with courage and creativity. He had faced incredible challenges and had come out victorious, not just as an individual, but as a representative of humanity. The galaxy had witnessed what humans could achieve, and he had earned the respect of one of its greatest warriors. Lyra approached him, her expression calm but thoughtful. "Human," she said quietly, "today you have shown the galaxy that humans are clever, courageous, and capable of greatness. Remember this: strength is not only in the body, but in the mind and the heart." Alex nodded, understanding the significance of her words. It was more than a victory. It was a message to the galaxy. Humans were a force to be reckoned with, a species that could rise to challenges, overcome obstacles, and inspire respect. As they left the arena together, the sun set over Zelthar Prime, casting a golden glow over the floating platforms. Alex felt a quiet sense of accomplishment and anticipation. The trials had ended, but his journey and humanity's recognition was only beginning. The galaxy had seen the spirit of humanity through him, and he knew that this was just the start of a new era the arena of Zelthar Prime had quieted. The massive crowd that had watched every stage, every trial, and every duel now sat in stunned silence, processing what they had witnessed. Alex Raynor, the human champion, had survived challenges that had defeated some of the galaxy's greatest warriors, and he had faced Princess Lyra herself in combat, proving courage, intelligence, and ingenuity beyond anyone's expectations. He stood at the center of the arena, breathing heavily, his suit slightly scuffed but fully functional. The sunlight reflected off his visor, illuminating the determination and pride in his eyes. Lyra approached, her expression calm yet bright with admiration. She had tested him, pushed him to his limits, and now she stood before him not as an opponent but as a witness to human resilience. "Human," she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the arena, "you have faced every challenge, adapted to every obstacle, and shown the galaxy what it means to have courage, intelligence, and heart. Today, you have earned more than victory. You have earned respect." The crowd erupted into cheers and applause, their excitement echoing across the orbiting platforms and through the galaxy. Holographic broadcasts captured the moment, and countless species from distant systems observed in amazement as a human had risen to stand equal with the greatest warriors of Zelthar Prime. Alex felt a swell of pride, but also humility. This victory was not just his, it represented humanity itself, a species often underestimated yet capable of brilliance and bravery. The final test had not been just combat, Alex realized. It had been a measure of spirit. Each stage of the arena had pushed him physically, mentally, and emotionally. He had faced creatures that seemed impossible to defeat, warriors who moved faster and struck harder than any human should be able to survive, and puzzles that tested perception, timing, and intelligence. And yet, through observation, creativity, and determination, he had succeeded. This was what made humans remarkable. They could adapt, they could learn, and they could rise to any challenge no matter the odds. Lyra extended her hand. "You have proven yourself, Alex Raynor. Today you have shown not only skill but the true spirit of your people. This is more than a personal victory. It is a victory for humanity." Alex took her hand, feeling a connection that went beyond words. There was no romance here, no shallow reward. It was respect, recognition, and trust. In that moment, he understood the depth of her challenge. Lyra had offered him a test, and through his courage, intelligence, and determination, he had passed. The announcer's voice boomed across the arena. "Behold the human champion, witness the courage, ingenuity, and spirit that defines humanity." The crowd erupted once more, cheering and chanting his name. Alex allowed himself a small smile. He had not only survived the arena, he had inspired awe across the galaxy. For the first time, humans were being seen not as fragile or weak, but as capable, clever, and brave. Lyra walked alongside him as they exited the central platform. "The arena was designed to challenge every aspect of a warrior's abilities," she explained. "Strength alone is not enough. Skill alone is not enough. You demonstrated ingenuity, courage, and perseverance, qualities that few possess. You showed what humans are capable of when tested at their limits." Alex nodded, feeling the truth in her words. He had always known that humans were capable, but now he had proof, not just for himself, but for the galaxy. "I didn't do it for myself," he said. "I did it for my people, for humanity. We've always faced challenges, sometimes from much stronger opponents, and we've always found a way to survive and succeed. Today, I wanted to show that to everyone here." Lyra's expression softened. "And you have. More than that, you have shown that respect is earned, not given. Few have ever achieved what you have today." She paused, looking out at the floating platforms, where spectators of countless species were still watching. "Your people will no longer be underestimated. Today, you have changed how the galaxy sees humanity." The audience's cheers began to fade into the background as Alex absorbed her words. He thought of Earth, of the struggles humans had faced, of being underestimated and doubted, and now he realized that his victory was more than personal, it was symbolic. Humanity had proven itself capable of brilliance, courage, and resilience. And perhaps this recognition would open doors to new alliances, new discoveries, and new respect across the stars. The arena slowly shifted back to its resting state, platforms aligning and lights dimming. Engineers and attendants began to reset the environment for the next scheduled events. But for Alex and Lyra, the trials were over. They walked side by side to a balcony overlooking the arena. Below them, spectators continued to celebrate, but Alex's mind was focused on the broader implications of what had happened. Lyra turned to him. "Humans have something unique," she said. We often measure strength by size, speed, or skill, but humans measure it by creativity, determination, and adaptability. You have reminded the galaxy that intelligence, courage, and ingenuity are as powerful as the strongest weapon. You have changed how we see you. Alex smiled faintly, feeling the weight of her words. It was a rare acknowledgement from someone who had witnessed countless warriors fail, someone who had seen the most skilled combatants fall to the arena's challenges. For Lyra to recognize him and humanity was more than a personal victory. It was a testament to the potential of his entire species. As the sun set over Zelthar Prime, casting golden light over the arena, Alex reflected on the journey. Each stage, each challenge, each duel had tested him in ways he had never imagined. And yet, it had also shown him the limitless potential of humans. Creativity, courage, adaptability, and perseverance, these were the tools that had allowed him to survive and triumph. These were the tools that defined humanity. Lyra broke the silence. "There will be challenges ahead," she said quietly. "The galaxy is vast and there are many who underestimate your people, but know this, today you have set an example. Humanity is now seen in a new light, and your actions will inspire others to recognize your value." Alex felt a sense of pride and responsibility. He was not just a fighter, he was a representative of his people, a symbol of their resilience and potential. He knew that the trials had ended, but the journey was only beginning. There were opportunities to build alliances, to explore the stars, and to continue proving that humans could rise to any challenge. The final moments of the day were filled with ceremony. Lyra addressed the crowd, acknowledging Alex's victory and the significance of his accomplishments. She spoke of courage, ingenuity, and the human spirit, and how these qualities could inspire beings across the galaxy. The crowd erupted in applause, and Alex felt a deep satisfaction. It was not just the thrill of victory, it was the knowledge that humanity had earned recognition on a scale never before seen. After the ceremony, Alex and Lyra walked through the quiet halls of the arena. "The trials were meant to test strength, skill, and spirit," she said. "But they also revealed something deeper. They showed that true courage and intelligence can come from the most unexpected places. You have proven that humans are a force to be respected." Alex nodded, thinking of the battles he had fought, the creatures he had faced, and the puzzles he had solved. Each step had required focus, creativity, and resilience. And through it all, he had learned something fundamental. Humans may not always be the strongest or the fastest, but they are clever, adaptable, and determined. They are capable of greatness when tested, and today the galaxy had witnessed that firsthand. As they reached the observation deck overlooking the arena, Alex saw the vastness of Zelthar Prime below. Cities shimmered with alien architecture, and distant stars sparkled across the horizon. The world felt alive with possibilities, and he realized that this was only the beginning. Humans had shown their potential, and now they had the opportunity to shape the future, to build alliances, and to explore the unknown with confidence and courage. Lyra turned to him, a serious but approving expression on her face. "You have changed perceptions today," she said. "Not just here but across the galaxy. You have shown that humans are clever, brave, and capable of more than we ever imagined. Remember this and use it wisely." Alex smiled, feeling a sense of fulfillment unlike any he had known. "I will," he said, "and I'll make sure humanity continues to live up to that example. We've always faced challenges, but now the galaxy knows what we're capable of." The crowd below began to disperse, and the arena settled into quiet once more. Alex stood with Lyra, looking out over the horizon, feeling the weight and the honor of his victory. The trials were over, but the journey was far from finished. He had not only survived the arena, but had changed the way the galaxy saw humanity. As night fell, stars reflected on the surface of the pools below, casting a soft glow across the floating platforms. Alex felt a quiet confidence and hope for the future. He had proven what humans could do, and now the universe would watch to see what they would accomplish next. The trials had ended, but the story of humanity's courage, ingenuity, and determination was only beginning. With Lyra by his side, he knew that alliances could be formed, respect could be earned, and the galaxy could be inspired. Today, he had won more than a duel. He had won recognition, respect, and a place for humans in a universe that had once underestimated them. And in that moment, Alex felt the true meaning of triumph, the victory of spirit, courage, and the unyielding power of the human heart.